We are well into the winter season, and unfortunately, sometimes ice, snow, and wet weather can lead to slips and falls. Brenda Hollingsworth of Auger Hollingsworth joins us today to talk about exactly that. Thank you for your time today, Brenda.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We're happy to have you, and this really can happen to anyone, and knowing how to react, I imagine, is very important. So what should someone do if they happen to slip and fall inside, let's say, an office building or a store?
Right. We have lots of those claims. You'd be surprised how often that happens. And one of the most important things, and it seems silly and it seems obvious unless you're in the situation, but one of the most important things is to notice what caused you to fall. So did you fall on a pool of water? Did you fall on spilled soap or spilled food? Why is it that you're on the ground? People are hurt, they're upset, sometimes they're embarrassed, and they don't notice why they fell. Sometimes you get it on your clothes, whatever it is that caused you to fall. Keep your clothes so that we have some evidence of what was on the floor. That's a tip that might surprise people, but it's really, really helpful.
Great tips, and probably something that not a lot of people would have thought about in advance. So great to have this conversation. Of course, there's also moving around outside, and winter weather can bring on dangerous conditions during these months. What should someone know if they have fallen outdoors?
Right, this also seems obvious, but it's harder than you think. It's really important to know where you fell. It's really important to try and register where am I right now so that later on you're able to prove where you fell, because that's something you're going to have to do. So look for a landmark. If you're beside a house, figure out what that address is. If you're beside a tree or a fire hydrant, make note so that when the time comes, you can get photos of where you fell, and you can put an X on a map to show where you fell so that you can satisfy that requirement to prove where you fell.
I think that having a witness is probably going to go a long way to help you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Witnesses are key, and we're lucky in Ontario. People tend to be very generous. If they've seen somebody slip and fall, they will come to your aid. So get their name and address, because they're able to tell what happened and they're able to speak to what was on the ground at the time. So the best solution, especially outside, you probably don't have a pen and paper, get the person to put the contact information in your phone. Either get them to text you right then and there, or get them to put their contact info in your contacts. You'll be so thankful you did that later on.
So Brenda, is there a limit to give notice to a municipality if you have in fact fallen outdoors?
Yeah, it's very important to make note of this. There is a 10-day limit to give notice to any municipality if you have slipped and fallen on their property. So 10 days is short. You want to get that notice in. Most municipalities will have a website with a report a claim page. You can fill out a form. They'll ask you the date, the time, the type of injury, what caused you to fall, and the location. So you can submit it that way. If you aren't comfortable with that, or your municipality doesn't have that, you can write a letter to the clerk of the city, and you want to ideally send it by registered mail or deliver it personally within the 10-day period.
So here's that big question. Should someone consider contacting a lawyer if they have in fact suffered a slip and fall?
Yeah, absolutely. We deal with these claims all the time, and we've had very good success getting compensation for people who've been badly injured as a result of slips and falls. So you can potentially claim pain and suffering damages. You can claim for your lost income. If you have out-of-pocket expenses for rehabilitation, like physiotherapy or chiropractic care, all of those things we can advance on your behalf. And as I say, we've had very good success doing that. So by all means, contact us for a free consultation to see if you have a viable case and what we can do for you.
So much good information here, and a great conversation as always. Brenda Hollingsworth, thank you for your time today.
Thank you.
This is a paid presentation. Some guests appear on behalf of paid sponsors. Opinions expressed do not constitute advice.